As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America.
Well, hello everyone. How you guys doing tonight? Another Monday evening. Let's be honest. A lot going on in the world. Hi Debbie. Hi Shelly. Hi Lynn. Hi Pam. Hi Rodney. Hi Brenda. Hi Richard. Hi Debbie. Hi Debbie Nana. Hi Deborah. Yeah, we made it in time, Deborah. Yes, we did. How's everyone doing tonight, though? Hopefully, everyone's having a good night out there. A lot going on. A little bit of time, but running late, but that's normal. No, inside what's happening over there in Russia right now and inside Putin's political circle, I mean, Russian elites have done nothing but gotten closer in ranks after the Wagner mutiny. The president relied on the group, trusted associates, many lifelong acquaintances to maintain power. And this has done nothing but draw them closer together, supposedly exposing vulnerabilities in Russia's political system, but it's showing the opposite. It's pushing the Kremlin elite to tighten ranks around the president, as many are observing, and even across the West are watching for signs of infighting, but it's not happening. Many lifelong friends of Putin have rallied to support the Russian president, and it's showing. Of course, Biden's trying to claim the U.S. and its allies are trying to make it clear they had no involvement with Russian mutiny attempt. But there was some talk about CIA involvement. I do not know exactly what was happening, but President Joe Biden, of course, this morning insisted that the Western leaders were not involved in any mutiny attempt over this weekend. Speaking publicly about the first time since the Wagner mercenary chief mobilized his private military forces against the Russian leader, which makes me think, why make that statement If the United States or NATO had nothing to do with it, nobody was thinking they did. Why make a statement claiming they did? Just thinking. No. I show my face on here every night, Brenda Spencer. That's what you're saying? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I don't believe any of this is what it seems to be, let's be honest. As we see Moscow now heavily fortified, and we're watching what's happening everywhere else. We know Ukraine is not succeeding in their offensive efforts. We know Russia is still holding ground, even after this turmoil events. But we see something else happening. We see what's happening in Germany. We see what's happening with the U.S., of course, pushing more funds into Ukraine, trying to back more weapons. As we know, weapons depots in Ukraine have been blown up time and time again. Tanks we sent there, weapons we sent there, mass amounts that have been actually staying there have been destroyed. Let's be honest. And by, of course, playing this game, saying that we're not involved with what happened with the Wagner Group, really, I mean, this really makes me question, were we involved? Oh, yeah, when I first started, my face was none on here. We were covering riots then, though. Of course, Biden saying U.S. allies and NATO want to prevent the perception America had any stock in the mutiny. Yeah, this statement, this whole coming out with the scenario and statement, and having a White House spokesperson reiterate Biden's certainty, and to make sure it remains clear that the Wagner forces were alone in this, makes me really, 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 really careful about what I think is happening, because let's look at it. Germany buying another couple hundred helicopters, getting ready for war. Germany now stationing 4,000 troops in Lithuania to strengthen NATO's eastern flank. Massive amounts of money being dumped into getting ready for war. German defense minister and many other ministers of defense around the European continent right now are preparing for permanently stationing robust brigades around infrastructure facilities that will need to create accommodations, of course, for these soldiers and their families. Why would they be getting ready for long-term settlement if not for President of World War III? I mean, we're heading backwards to the Dark Ages? I don't know. We know they declared that if any nuclear radiation was detected outside of normal in Ukraine, that NATO would call in Article 5, which would mean a direct confrontation. That means all of NATO nations, including us, would be at war with Russia. Of course, the U.S. isn't just preparing for war with Russia at once. They're preparing for war with Russia and China at the same time. Now, you don't prepare for something unless you think it might be pushing it. But let's be honest, we are pushing it. And it's becoming obvious to the world at large, maybe not to American citizens, because our media does not want to cover what's happening. We have a corrupt government beyond belief. The whole world right now is talking about it, but you can't find a single thing about how corrupt the government is in the U.S. and the U.S. You can't. It's crazy. You can't find a single article besides random. Nobody's talking about the corruption in the U.S. and where it's actually leading to. We know where it's leading to. I mean, everybody does. Just look around far enough. I mean, the U.S. is trying to make friends with everybody and strengthen ties with everybody before a massive war breaks out. Meanwhile, we have a president that is sitting in office still and not impeached, knowing He used his power and influence to benefit himself and put the country at risk with countries like China and Russia and Ukraine. But yeah, now the U.S. is going to send another $500 million. $500 million in weapons to Ukraine, military aid the U.S. is about to send. Another $500 million, $500 million, including more than 50 heavily armed vehicles, infusion of missiles for the air defense system, of course. Lots of other stuff going in the package. This is ridiculous, though. We don't have a budget to house our veterans. We can house immigrants from other countries. Our homeless rate is going through the roof. But nobody cares about that. We're becoming a third world nation here, literally, as we speak. But we're giving our money away to other countries. And how many of those weapons are actually going to end up in Ukraine? That's a good question. Because we know not all of them have been ending up there. They've been sold on the black market to cartels in Mexico. Now our Mexican border partners are angry at us and would most likely back China in a World War III situation. That should be scary, especially when you have most of South America backing China as well, Africa backing China or Russia, Middle East backing Russia. I mean, obviously, there's a problem. You look at the global land masses in the world, and you look at global populations, and you see that more people would back Russia and China, maybe not the most evolved technologies, than the U.S. and Europe could even muster. Australia would probably stay neutral, trying to stay out of it. Let's be honest, they've never really been big for fighting a war. This is crazy, though. I think Ukraine or Russia has used the Wagner Group, or Putin has used the Wagner Group to basically tie in his inner circle. Because if any, and there's radiation or radioactive materials missing from a location somewhere in Ukraine, supposedly Ukrainian soldiers took it. So if they end up releasing a dirty bomb in Ukraine, and that breaks NATO's agreement, that makes NATO's agreement to go in if Article 5, if any nuclear anomalies are detected, or any radiation detected outside of certain zones, that would mean World War III would be started and provocated by Ukraine for the benefit of who? Who's benefiting from this? U.S. citizens. I don't see BK here tonight. I don't see BK. It's crazy. U.S. sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine. And of course, that money coming back to U.S. suppliers of Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Halliburton. They're all benefiting from it. And guess what? Politicians are benefiting from that. They're getting kickbacks. It's getting ugly. It's only going to get worse. NATO chiefs are trying to make a last-ditch bid to bring Sweden into the fold before the summit next month, which could cause even more problems. It's all just a downhill spiral. Watching this unseeming of America, this gutting of America, corrupt leaders. This isn't a country that we would ever talk about that before, or ever even had to think about it. Corruption at the highest levels of government. Different rules for different people. This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy watching this. I mean, our government basically is no longer for the people, by the people. Our government's plans this summer is to see what it would be like if they were to try to control citizens by tricking them. Let's be honest, that's their point. The globalist warmongers in the U.S., of course, want to see what our troops are capable of manipulating U.S. citizens. Maybe they're just preparing them to be ready to do it. Yeah. Train wrecks are normal. They're not even on the news. And supposedly now the chemicals that spilled in Yellowstone did spill out of the containers, and nobody's been talking about it. The containers that went into the river did end up spilling their contents, which means basically you have a sulfuric acid river right now. So good luck downstream with the water treatment facilities. It's crazy. Our infrastructure is failing. We're spending more money overseas than on our own country and our own needs. Biden is more focused on electric vehicles than ever, than anything else. Electric vehicles. Now we're going for electric buses. It's ridiculous. We don't even have the infrastructure right now. Certain place in Texas right now can't even charge electric vehicles because there's not enough power for the grid just for cooling their homes. Digital ID, yeah. Even when it's calling for digital IDs. They already have digital IDs in some place in Europe. Ukraine, of course, it's all digital ID. Sad. I think the brief insurrection that happened in Ukraine or in Russia has really just unified Russia even more. I think we're about to see major movement from both sides. Venezuela's got nothing on us. Population density to cities compared to theirs is drastically higher, which means when we come down to it, it's going to be a bigger problem. More people will go hungry. More people, of course, will not be able to find food as deserts form for food. Transportation in the United States stops. It's just an endless cycle here. Yeah, electric tanks, that's a joke. Electric tanks are definitely a joke. There was a train wreck in Yellowstone. The bridge that goes over the river actually broke down. The train went into the river. I don't know where the other one was. There was another one, though. But massive heat waves coming through the country. I know you guys seen the tornadoes in the central U.S. today. And of course, that weather is coming to the East Coast. So if you guys live on the East Coast, be prepared. It's supposed to get nasty out here. One thing after another. It's literally one thing after another. Got to try to stay heads above water for now. I mean, there's really not much to talk about today because not much really is being talked about anywhere. Stuff that is being talked about, a whole bunch of fake news being pumped out, trying to wash over Biden and his son's corruption, the DOJ's corruption, prosecutors' corruptions, judges' corruptions. We hear corruption at every level of government from the top down. Is it still a government for the people? That's the question I'm going to leave you guys with tonight. And get an answer. Be happy to call in Wednesday night because we will be talking about it. Taking calls Wednesday night and talking about how bad does the corruption have to get before the United States people stand up and do something. So if you got somebody that wants to talk, a friend, neighbor, that would have a good conversation, have them call in. So we're definitely going to be talking about it. But God bless you guys. God bless America. I know it's a short show tonight, but we do thank you for being here, and we thank you guys all for sharing and following. Definitely helps the stream out a lot. And for our donors, we definitely appreciate you guys. Debbie, if you need notifications, you can message me on my private page, and I will add you to the list. But good night. God bless you. And, of course, if you can afford to donate, please do. We're in desperate needs of donations, but we understand money is tight. God bless you. God bless America. I'll see you guys Wednesday.